Could we go ahead? Estela, are we ready?
Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop, an executive session, and a regular meeting on Tuesday, July 19th, 2011, at 5:15 p.m., 5:50 p.m., and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Workshop item A, discussion regarding proposed travel policy with a presentation of the American Eagle Business Extra Program.
Mayor Martinez, members of the commission, we're coming before
Larry,
you
get
this
a little
evening
closer.
to... I'm sorry.
Get a little closer to your microphone.
Okay. We come before you this evening to introduce you a proposed travel policy for the city of Brownsville, and if you choose to have it apply, also to at least propose to the United Brownsville Group. And also, and primarily, we have a presentation regarding the American Eagle Business Extra Program, which has some benefits that accrue to the city if you choose to adopt the travel policy. With no further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Mike Jones and the people from American Eagle who are here for the brief presentation.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor, Commissioners. I'm Michael Jones. I do the air service development and marketing at the airport. And I'm really honored to be here today with two good friends of mine, Jerry Cruz, the Regional Business Development Director for American Airlines, and Isabel Huerta. A lot of you may know Jerry because he's been working with us here, there, and everywhere for the past couple of years. Isabel has been with American Airlines in Mexico City for the past 16 years, so we really welcome them to Brownsville this evening and look forward to what they're going to have to say to us. American Airlines in Brownsville has been a huge success story. They started, we started 4 years to convince them to fly here. Then on Texas Independence Day in 2009, they announced they would try Brownsville. On June 11th, they started with 3 nonstop flights, nonstop to DFW, and from there through One World, now more than 900 destinations around the world. You can get just about anywhere on American. It is truly something special in the air. Our flights started about half full. When we kicked in our marketing program in 2010, something you may have seen, a destination campaign in the 5 local newspapers, instant success. The planes were no longer half full. Passengers told us, I didn't know you could go to Paris from Brownsville. I didn't know American Airlines served Brownsville. And a lot of people, you may not know this, come to the airport every day who don't know we have an airport. So those planes that were half full, now they're 60% full, 70% full, and this month 75% full. If we can get to 80%, well then we'll probably get back the early morning flight and the late night arrival as well. And you can help us do this, Brownsville can help us do this, by using Business Extra. Business Extra is so easy. Jerry and Isabel are experts in it. Thanks to Lupe Granado, we were invited to make this presentation to department heads last month. And in fact, Jerry and I have been doing this for a couple of years all over the catchment area, from Harlingen to Matamoros, at hospitals and large corporations and governments and businesses of every kind. All you have to do is remember those 6 numbers. When you make your reservation on American Airlines, fill in your Advantage number and then add this to it. There's a box for it, and the city gets credit. The traveler gets to keep their miles, and the city also earns miles. It's unique to American. You probably know American started in 1934. They're almost as old as the airport. They invented airline reservations. They invented seat assignment. They were first with a frequent flyer program 30 years ago this year, and they're first again with Business Extra. So to learn about this and how easy it is, I want to introduce Jerry Cruz and Isabel Huerta, 2 of the reasons American Airlines is really something special in the air.
Thank you, Michael.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Isabel Huerta, and as Michael mentioned, I worked for American for 16 years, but in Mexico City, and I'm back for 2 months. So we're here to introduce, so you can really know in every detail this incentive program, so you can promote it to the employees and to the companies. So, what is Business Extra? And it's not working. Can you help us? Sorry about this. Okay. Business Extra is a travel award and incentive program that allows companies to manage business travel expenses and earn valuable company level points. Easy to use and convenient. We're going to explain how you can use it. Automatic tracking for Business Extra points and web-based account management. Employee-friendly. Individual employees still earn personal frequent flyer miles while the company is earning points. Why to use Business Extra? Well, it helps to lower your overall travel budget. It's free, it's easy, it's convenient, and take less than 10 minutes to enroll. AA, you will fly with AA over 250 cities worldwide, and now it's going to be more than 900 due to the joint business agreement that we have with Iberia, British Airways, and Japan Airlines. The more you use it, the more you can save. Why Business Extra? We're going to give you some examples because you have to choose from more than 45 awards options. Some of them are plan ahead and anytime awards. If you can book it 7 or 14 days in advance, it's cheaper and you can use those tickets. U.S. domestic and international travel, first and business class travel, upgrades, annual Admirals Club memberships, Admirals Club day passes, and its web-based award redemption. How does the program work? Well, you have to fly American Airlines, American Eagle, or American Connection. Use your Business Extra account number when purchasing tickets, which Michael just showed you. That's the clue. AA automatically tracks the ticket after travel is complete. Earn 1 point per $10 in flown airfare, and earn credit on all purchased published fares. Earn additional points with special promotions that when you go to the website, we're going to give the link. It says special offers because sometimes you can double or triple the points when you fly, depending on the cities where you're flying. Double revenue credit, 2 points for every $10 in flown airfare from over 200 originating airports. Points are calculated and posted monthly, no share requirements, and no minimum spend requirements. And you can choose when to redeem your points, and we're going to show you where you can redeem your points. Meeting a company's needs, company travel manager decides how and when to use points. You already enrolled, so maybe you already have a travel manager who can redeem these points. Manage points and travel awards to reduce air travel costs, employee business travel, for example, sales or company meetings, recruiting, customer initiatives, Admirals Club day passes for meetings. You can use that, the points for. Improve employee morale, for employees recognition, sales rewards, perfect attendance, holiday parties, upgrades and Admirals memberships day passes, or employee humanitarian support. Those are some examples where you can use your points for. It's very easy to enroll, and we're going to give or leave some flyers because we have a link, which is businessextra.com. And you can enroll there, and requires just participating. Yeah, I know, okay. Yeah, you already enroll, but just in case you need to do that. And again, when you're booking, it's very important to add that number. That's the way you were enrolled. Now, we're going to give you an example, like the value potential. Let's say that you spent $170,000 in air. That's equals to 17,000 points. And some of the cities, you can get double points, so you can get another 17,000 points. Total points, 34,000 points. And to use, for example, points for one plan ahead award, you can use 2,000 points just for one ticket, a round-trip ticket. So the tickets that you have earned are 17. Average ticket price in the U.S. is around $350 average. And you have in savings $5,950. Savings as percent of our travel expenditures is over 3%. Do you have any questions?
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
With regards to the employees, would also, in other words, the city would get credit, and if you have an advantage number, the employee likewise gets credit for the same?
Yes.
Okay.
They get the points to their advantage number, and the city gets also get points. So it's a win-win
There's
situation
no
for both of
division?
them.
In other words, the employee's not giving up any numbers if they're using an advantage number, right?
Right.
Okay,
I have questions for Larry Brown,
sure.
please.
Yes, Commissioner.
I've noticed for a while now in all the advertising, and then as it's conveyed here, that American Airlines is the only airline that seems to be within your marketing program. However, we have other airlines that exist at the airport, like Continental, which is now United, and Aeromexico. So at what point do you plan on incorporating these other airlines in our marketing efforts, number one? Number two, are we soliciting the same type of incentives program from the other airlines?
In terms of incentive programs, all incentive programs related to airlines ended with the last payment to American Eagle in December of last year.
No, I think
The
he's
actual-
talking about one pass.
Oh, One Pass, I see. In terms of the One Pass, there is a One Pass program that Continental does have, and employees participate in that. Mike has been pursuing the possibility of a One Pass program similar to American Eagle, which the city would use. Let me turn that over to Mike. Go ahead.
Yes, it's a good point. Continental and United has Mileage Plus. Continental has One Pass. And they have a corporate program as well. It's not as lucrative as this, and we were enrolled in that as well. However, that one requires every employee to have a One Pass number or a Mileage Pass number, and they have to register individually with Continental and United. And we'd be happy to help with that. Aeromexico does not have a program exactly like that. They have the Premier Club, which all passengers can join for free, and they have elite status, which you earn by the number of miles that you fly. And to answer Commissioner Zamora's question about marketing, this was targeted specifically for American, because they were a new airline when we did that in 2010. But we do, have always, and will always include Continental, United, and now Aeromexico in our website and in anything that we're allowed to do. We're working on an ad right now for, well, this is televised. I really shouldn't say too much about it because the competition could be watching. But it will incorporate all of the airlines and many of the reasons to fly Brownsville.
I'm always very cognizant of the marketing programs because that's, the nature of the business that I'm a part of. So I keep tabs on the advertising and the radio and the billboards, and I have noticed that it's always American Airlines with the city of Brownsville. Fly Brownsville, and then there's American Airlines. So I'm concerned about not promoting the other airlines, specifically at that time it's United. And in that respect, who's paying for that? Is it the city paying for that? Is American Airlines supplementing our marketing efforts?
Part of our agreement with various airlines includes marketing. The agreement with Continental has a specific amount we have to spend each year to promote Continental. The current billboards are up, the last billboards. There was an American Airlines billboard in March of 2009 when they announced the service, and that was up for 3 months. The ones up now have Continental, American, and United's logo on it. Our next series of billboards will include Aeromexico. So all 4 airlines will be on there, as they are on the website. And the ads that we're developing will now also include not just Continental, United, and American, but also Aeromexico.
Okay.
And you're exactly right, because I was speaking to a group in Harlingen, and why would, I didn't mean to say that word, I'm sorry, to a suburb to the north. And why should we come to Brownsville to fly? We have the same thing here. No, you don't. Do you have American Airlines? Do you have Aeromexico? Oh, we didn't know you had that. Well, we'll have to consider it. So you're right. That's a really important message to get out there. And it's so good to hear the support for our marketing plan, and I hope that we can get a reasonable amount of money to do that.
I just want to see a balanced marketing effort across the board, not so that they compete amongst themselves, but just so that we're competitive with other airports throughout the valley.
Oh, thank you very much. We would love that. And we do the same things with the other airline as far as direct marketing, like this goes, point of sale marketing, and also events. Various have joined in different, the Jazz Fest and so forth, with free tickets and the various things to promote the entire catchment area. And in Matamoros as well, we work closely with them to get people to use our airport.
I have a question about the extra program. If an employee is flying on non-city business, can the city still reap benefits from that since
Oh,
they are city?
absolutely, if they
It
use
doesn't
the-
have to be
No, it doesn't.
city-related business.
They just have to put in the business extra number. In fact, you could tell your friends and neighbors if, if they want to put in our business extra number, we could earn some points with that. Maybe we could do a Zumba thing for the, our business extra number. And,
Okay, I'll fly American.
Put the number on the shirts, this might make it work, but we would love to have any type of help like that. In fact, one of the department heads suggested that when Jerry and I made the presentation last month. Can we do that also in our personal travel?
Okay.
And what a great thing to do. If there's no other questions, Jerry and Isabel have something from American Airlines to give to you with this information to help you remember American and fly Brownsville. Thank you so very much. Thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate your support. We really do. And fly Brownsville.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Larry.
One other thing, the City Commission is asked to consider tonight a travel policy that you have a copy of, I believe, in your packet. The travel policy contains several elements that encourage, actually require city employees, but encourage other entities such as those within United Brownsville to fly Brownsville. It notes several different features we think are important. One, requiring all city employees to fly Brownsville, without exception, okay, to fly and use the airport that we have here. And let me tell you some of the reasons why that's important. First of all, every time someone flies out of the Brownsville airport, it earns the city of Brownsville $4.50 in passenger facility charge. It also earns the city of Brownsville money that goes into what's called the AIP program. The city of Brownsville uses that money to maintain runways, taxiways, marking systems, lights, et cetera, et cetera. It's money that does not have to be provided by the general fund in order to maintain the airport. That is the key program, the AIP and the PFC funds, key program to do the maintenance work at the airport, as I mentioned, the various different facilities. So every time that a person flies out of the Brownsville airport, in effect, $4.50 of that ticket charge come back to the Brownsville airport. If they fly out of a different airport, that money is going to that airport, okay? But you still incur maintenance costs here. So obviously, it's beneficial to this airport to have the money coming back to the airport to maintain the airport, okay?
Can you go over that sign back there behind Pete? What is that behind Pete, the thing about
He's getting
50
back there,
seats?
This is an economic study that was done for us on air service by Rafael Otero at the University of Texas, chair of the economics department. And this measures the economic impact on the catchment area from one flight with a 70% load factor with 50 seats, one domestic flight. And it brings, as you can see, $22 million impacts the economy in 1 year, more than 200 jobs, and more than $300,000 in sales tax from one flight. And I think you all remember a few years ago we had 3 flights, one airline. It's been more than 40 years since we've had 3 airlines. So, and that's been possible with the City Commission's support, and we thank you so much. On international flights, and this study's available if anybody would like it, we'll get it for you. The impact is much higher, primarily because of the spending patterns and the shopping of Mexican tourists.
Thank you, Michael, and we appreciate all your efforts. Larry, this item that you have here for Fly Brownsville, it's an action item that we will take up further down in the agenda, okay?
Right.
The other thing I'd like for you to explore is having known just enough about the travel industry by being in the travel agency business, You know, you extol the virtues of getting your tickets, 7 or 14 days ahead of time.
Or more.
Or
Right.
more, which
Right.
it makes Pete very happy over there. But what I would like for you to do is to explore the idea, or at least provide us with a memo, of the feasibility of having the ability for your department, or figuring out how we can work through this, where we can have basically someone issue tickets when we're traveling on city. So not only do we ensure that we use this number, but we also ensure that we have the most economical flights possible, okay?
I
Just,
understand.
and it just doesn't have to be, it has just to be kind of, give me a little bit, and the commission, a little bit of guidance on that. That's all I want,
We'll be
okay?
happy to do that.
All right.
It will be aimed at Fly Brownsville.
Right. I mean, I think it'll reinforce your efforts, and not only that, it ensures that we do fly Brownsville.
Yep. We'll be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion regarding a proposed ethics code for the city of Brownsville.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the commission. Mr. Mayor, when you first came into office, I think we met within a day or two, and your first instruction to me was to explore what steps the city commission might take to reinstitute an ethics code. You asked me to look at the former ethics code that the city had and had expired, and you also asked me to look at ethics codes of other cities, model ethics codes, and to see what was the most effective way or meaningful way the city of Brownsville government might be able to ensure a high ethical standard among the governmental body here and also among city employees. I prepared a short PowerPoint because I really think this workshop is going to be more of the introduction to an effort that will probably take place over the next several weeks, with the result of being an ethics code that the city can be proud of. Could I get the, where's the button for the? Which one? This one? The one in the middle? All right. First of all, I think we have to say very simplistically, what are ethics? Webster Dictionary defines it as a discipline dealing with good and evil and with a moral duty, moral principles or practice. And in other words, ethics simply refers to good moral conduct owed toward others. And really what we're talking about is the covenant that this governmental body has with the public as a whole, and the trust that the public has in city government. First of all, the public deserves a government that's open, honest, and transparent. Municipal codes are specifically written to address situations which are more specific to cities. We have state laws, which we'll go into in a little bit, and which some of those state laws govern ethical conduct by governmental officials, including city officials. But the purpose of a municipal code is we can delve into specific situations that a governmental entity, a city, deals with. For example, representations of private interests, conflicting outside employment, use of city property for private purposes, use of city property for political activity, prohibited interests in contracts, direct or indirect interests, gifts, meals, etc. And these are ethics codes. It's not just a matter of a list of things you can't do. I mean, I look at them in terms of something that's helpful. They provide a guideline path for the commission and for elected officials and for other public officials, so public officials can understand what kind of conduct is permitted and which kind of conduct should not. It can also provide situations where if we're, and sometimes they can unintentionally arise, where we're in a predicament, where we're suddenly in a situation, what do we do? How do we deal with that? Sometimes there's manners of disclosure and recusal. In other words, I can disclose, say, hey, I have an interest in this matter that's coming before me, and therefore I'm going to recuse myself from the discussion and the vote, or perhaps I can file a financial disclosure which will cure that. There's different ways we can deal with different ethical situations that arise. And ethical situations are something that can arise in the normal day-to-day activity of business or government. I mean, they're nothing that's necessarily bad. It's how we choose to deal with them, how we choose to take the high road. is what's required. And finally, ethics codes provides for a means of enforcement. If someone does commit an intentional violation of the ethics code for their own personal self-gain, how will the city go about enforcing the rules that it has adopted itself? A little bit of background. The city of Brownsville did have an ethics code, and it's in the material, the binder that I provided to you. It was adopted in 2001, and it was based on codes of ethics that had been adopted by San Antonio and Dallas. It was written to automatically expire on July 25th, 2005, unless reenacted with or without amendment by the City Commission. What happened is that that date rolled around, and nobody voted to reactivate or to extend the Brownsville Code that existed with or without amendment, and therefore it naturally expired because the ordinance which adopted it had a natural expiration date. So the Brownsville Code of Ethics that we did have, which was based on the San Antonio Code, expired on July 5th, 2001, because the City Commission at that time didn't adopt it, and I don't know the reasons for that. Okay. Then the question becomes, in the absence of a municipal code, what ethics rules do we have right now, or are in effect right now, that govern conduct by the Commission? First, we have disclosure requirements. The disclosure requirements can be broken down into two different categories. You've got general disclosure, which are the financial statements that you file, and then there's transactional disclosure. In the interest that, in case someone has a substantial economic interest in a business or something like that, there's certain forms that they can file with the city secretary. Also, in the Texas Local Government Code, Section 141004, there's a section dealing with affidavit and abstention from voting required. But that statute is tied to the existence of what they call substantial interests, which brings us to, we'll get back to that in a bit. The Texas, the City of Brownsville Ethics Code, the way it formerly was, we had a procedure for enforcement. And this was the procedure. I'm going to go over it because I don't think it's been so long since this thing was enacted. I don't know how familiar everybody was with it. First of all, there would be a sworn complaint based on facts. It's not enough for someone to just sit there and point the finger and say, I think this person's doing this. You have to say, set forth facts and perhaps an affidavit form swearing to things that you know about. Within 21 days of the receipt of the complaint, the chair or the vice chair of the Ethics Commission would review this, and basically the chairman and the vice chairman and two people chosen at random by the city secretary would review it to determine whether or not the complaint stated just cause for the existence of ethical conduct. If there was no just cause, the complaint would just be summarily dismissed. However, if there was just cause, the committee review, there would actually be a hearing. The complainant would have the right to appear. The person who was complained against would have the right to put on evidence, cross-examine witnesses, and be represented by counsel. Within 45 days, the commission would make a decision, and that decision was to either dismiss or to find that there had been a violation. The Grievance Commission was advisory, and they would forward their findings or recommendations to the city manager or the city commission for discipline. And the discipline that would be meted out was either a letter of notification, and that was simply in the event of an innocent, inadvertent violation of the ethics rules, a letter of admonition, a reprimand, a suspension from office, or any other remedy or penalty authorized by the code. In reviewing the ethics code, there were two things that I did notice. Number one is there were some inconsistencies with the law of the state of Texas. And I think it's okay to have some inconsistencies now in the event that the city wanted to have intentionally set a higher standard than the minimal standards set by the state. I mean, that certainly would be fine. But there were certain inconsistencies, and I'll get into one of them, where we're actually setting a lesser standard or perhaps an inconsistent standard with the state. So I think that's why I wouldn't recommend that the commission simply adopt the code that we had before without making some amendments and revisions to it. And the other thing is, the rules governing the city commission are extremely limited by the language that we have in the city charter. The charter doesn't provide for any measures in the event of misconduct by members of the commission. So in terms of the conflicts, I can talk to you about the definition of substantial economic interest, that term. That's a very, very important term in the ethics codes because that's the triggering mechanism for certain disclosures, and it's a triggering mechanism for motions to abstain. Under state law, determination of a substantial economic interest, hang on, I can read this better than that. State law, chapter 572005, talks about a substantial interest in terms of a person having a controlling interest in a business, owning more than 10% of the voting interest, owning more than $25,000 of fair market value, or have a direct or indirect participating interest of 10% of the profits, is a member of the board of directors, serves as an elected officer of the business, or as an employee of the business. If we look at the term substantial economic interest as defined by the old ethical code, it was defined by 10% of the stock, which is the same, or 15% or more of the fair market value of the company, which was a slight increase from the state law. However, one of the definitions was funds received from the business entity exceeded 10% of the person's gross income from the previous year. Well, obviously, if you're a very wealthy individual, it's going to be a lot easier to get by than someone that's making less money. So you could argue that the ethical standard should be the same no matter how much money you're making. And then the last one was a substantial real estate and property if the interest is equitable or legal ownership with a fair market value of $2,500 or more. The city charter provision excluded being a member of the board of directors, being an elected officer of the business entity, or being an employee of the business entity. So there were some significant distinctions between those terms. If we look at another issue in terms of disciplinary action, under the Brownsville Code of Ethics, an employee who fails to comply with the chapter, who violates the chapter, may be disciplined in accordance with city personnel rules or regulations. But if we look at the provision for members of the commission, the Brownsville Code of Ethics states, if a city commission member fails to comply with this chapter or violates this chapter, that matter must be decided by the city commission in accordance with the city charter. That's fine, except the city charter doesn't address it. So we end up in a big circle where there's no enforcement mechanism for ethical conduct against members of the city commission under the old rule. All right. Other than maybe verbal admonitions, there was really nothing to back it up, which I don't think that's what this commission wants. All right. So in looking at this, I would make you the following recommendations. I'd ask that the city commission consider creation of an ad hoc committee, including members of the commission, the city attorney, the city manager, perhaps people from HR, to review the former code of ethics and to revise it consistently with state law, and perhaps to bring it more into the current, and then they would draft a revised code of ethics, which includes proposed amendments to the Brownsville City Charter relating to ethical rules governing the city commission. Those are my recommendations. I think that's a good starting point for the revision of the code of ethics by the city, and that concludes my PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Sosa. Go ahead.
Could I offer a suggestion? Since I'm all for the creation of an ad hoc committee. The only thing I would ask is, in time-wise, would it be because we are about to go, we're already in full swing with budget, and it is taking up staffs and managements and everybody's time, that such a committee would probably be created or brought upon right after we finish with budget, as to not interfere with the time of management and staff.
Anybody else? Let me just respond to that, Rick. I think that the staff or the city manager should dedicate his time to the budget at this particular time. I think the city attorney has sufficient assistance that if there be an ad hoc committee, that we at least start a preliminary review by those commissioners, and I personally would like to be on that committee. I think we need to set the gold standard. We don't need to set minimum standards. We're progressing quite nicely. There's a lot of growth in this town, and so I think the more you emphasize the ability to trust this city and its employees and its commissioners and its government, the better off we are. I don't know that we take any formal action other than I suggest that you get together with Estela, anybody who wishes to serve on that commission. Please, indicate by telling her that you wish to sit on that commission, and then that'll be a start, and then kind of we'll revise it with more staff as we go along. And it's going to take us a little while to get through this thing because there are a lot of things that are missing in the city charter, and quite frankly, there needs to be something in there that if it's something that the city attorney deems that it belongs in a law enforcement agency realm of decision, then it takes it out of our hands because we don't, as you well know, all the ramifications of trying to deal with that. It goes to the proper authorities or the chief of police or the district attorney or whatever it is that we deem appropriate, and we don't want to get into that realm. So we have to be real careful about that.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I agree that the sooner we can do this, the better, because I know that a lot of the citizens in this city are concerned about this, and I feel that it would be best that we resolve this as soon as possible.
Well, and like I said, I think everybody's got a valid point. It just happens that this code, in order for it to be really effective, it takes a little bit of study.
Absolutely.
I think we need to do it deliberately and, totally all-encompassing. Mark, thank you for your time
Thank you.
and your efforts. Appreciate it. Estella,
Okay,
where?
we have executive session.
All right.
Item A, discussion with legal counsel pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding threatened litigation.
Okay.
When we go into executive session?
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Stella, you ready?
Pledge of
Call
Allegiance.
the meeting to order. Go ahead, Stella.
We've called the meeting to order. Mayor, we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
And Pastor Anwan Charles from St. James Missionary Baptist Church.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for the leaders that are gathered here today. We thank you for those of the community that are gathered here today. We pray, Father God, that everything is done and said here in decency and in order. And Father God, to promote the agenda of bettering the city for your people. Keep us and guide us and direct our paths. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Next item is action on items discussed in executive session.
I
Item
would
A-
advise council to continue in the path that was set forth already in this item, and to continue to report to us later, at a later time, with the status on it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion approved.
Proclamations, Marco Antonio Cavazos.
I think we've seen this young man in the
Yes.
paper today.
Come on up to the... Thank you for being here. Yes, I'm gonna read.
Why don't you all stand right there while Commissioner Montoya reads the proclamation?
Mayor, I think our days are creeping up on us when children that you carried as babies are getting proclaimed at the city. So, but
Speaker.
congratulations to you.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Congratulations to you, Mark, Mr. Aceta. Congratulations also, sir, on the work. And Mary, to you and Matias, you know, the wonderful parents to this young man. Congratulations on raising such a wonderful, wonderful young man. The following is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing and honoring Marco Antonio Cavazos. Whereas Marco Antonio Cavazos is a senior at Homer Hanna High School, a criminal justice student, and is a member of the student organization called Skills USA, which is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. And whereas Marco Antonio Cavazos is one of 10 students elected during the 2011 National Leadership and Skills in Kansas City, Missouri, to represent the United States, and whereas Marco Antonio Cavazos was, during his sophomore year, elected as a Texas State Skills USA, and in March of 2010, he was elected as Skills USA historian to represent the state of Texas. And whereas Marco Antonio Cavazos in April 2011 was one of 2 students selected as a candidate from the state of Texas to represent our state at the national level. And whereas Marco Antonio Cavazos was in June 2011 elected a Skills USA national officer and will serve as a Region 4 vice president, becoming Hanna High School's first national officer in criminal justice with Skills USA. Now therefore, we the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by the virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby recognize and honor Marco Antonio Cavazos for his achievements in the Skills USA organization, and further thank him for setting an example as a role model for our city's youth to emulate. Done on this 19th day of July 2011, and it's signed Antonio Tony Martinez, Mayor, and the City Commission. Congratulations. Where's Bill Young? He's on vacation.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a couple of words?
Hello. First of all, I would like to thank especially all the city commissioners for the opportunity that I had today, and to the mayor and to Mr. Ricardo Longoria for the opportunity that I have. And first of all, of course, I do this for myself, to better myself as a student and a citizen of the community, but not only is to represent Brownsville, because yes, when people ask me where I'm from Texas, but I'm proud to say that I'm from Brownsville, Texas, and to represent not only me or my school, Homer Hanna, or the administration staff, but to represent us and the future leaders that we are, the students from this community. So thank you for this opportunity, and hopefully this inspires other students to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Consent agenda item A.
I'll entertain a motion for consent item number A.
So move.
Second? All
Who
those
was-
in favor say aye.
Who was the second, I'm sorry?
Rick? Moved. And Jessica? Oh, Estella seconded.
Okay.
All right.
Item 3, consideration and action to reappoint 3 members to the Civil Service Commission.
Mayor, member of the commissioners, I would ask that we defer this to a later meeting. We have had a resignation here, so I want to,
I will
Present it
entertain a
properly.
motion to table this item.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Dr. Gowan and seconded by Commissioner Longoria. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Thank you, Charlie.
Item 4, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2011-983-CC, an ordinance concerning Chapter 102 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Utilities, and which provides for electric, water, and wastewater service rates and charges and conditions of services, amending Section 102-116 to provide for a 12-inch fire support connection to affix a monthly rate, to amend Section 102-196 to reinsert an omitted general service large demand customer classification description, to amend Sections 102 through 197, 102, 199, 102, 206, 102, 207, 102, 208, 102, 214, and 102, 221, to reinsert omitted references to the general service large demand customer rate classification, including rates, and providing a severability cause and effective date.
Did that make sense? Mayor, good afternoon, Mayor and members of the commission. My name is Ana Lozano, and I am with the Brownsville PUB. And this item that we have before you for your consideration this afternoon pertains to 2 different sections in our existing rate ordinance. And the 2 separate requests in this one item relate to a water rate, a new water rate that we need, and then an existing commercial electric rate that we have. On the water side, we are requesting consideration and approval to add a new rate to the existing rates that we have for fire support services. The rate that we have for fire support services is a fixed monthly charge, and it's for water furnished to customers for fire protection purposes, which are like the fire sprinkler systems that commercial customers have. Now, the current language in our existing ordinance does specify rates for 4, 6, 8, and 10-inch connection services. However, we are currently working with a new customer, and they have a requirement for a 12-inch connection, and we don't have a rate for that. So we are asking that we insert language for a new rate for this 12-inch connection to meet their needs. I should say that the new rate that is being proposed today was developed in accordance with the American Water Works Association standards, and it's also in line with our existing rates. So all we're asking for is to add a rate for a 12-inch, so now we would have 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12-inch. And this is for fire support services. Yes.
How does this rate compare to other cities?
You know what, they did take data from all cities across, I think, from the American
Water Works Association.
Yeah, so it should be consistent. And it is in line with our other rates that we have right now. It's not out, right now for an 8-inch, it's $49.58, and for a 10-inch, it's $89.16, so.
Our rates are very competitive with anybody in the valley, as well as in Texas.
Yeah, definitely in the
The only
valley.
thing, Commissioner, is that we now having some industries that are coming in here that are requiring a bigger line. And I think this is CK or?
It is CK Technologies.
And so we're just kind of coming up to speed on what it is that we need to be doing, because I have a feeling if we're successful, there may be even later times where we're going to have even bigger connections that are going to be required.
Right.
It is a flat monthly fee, so
Yeah.
there's no consumption unless for whatever reason they have to use a fire support.
Do we vote on this one separately from the other, or?
No, I just thought I would stop and see if
Oh,
anybody had
yeah,
questions
give us-
on the water side. But this connection for CK Technologies would be the largest one we have in our system right
Sure.
now, so. The second item we have is in regards to an existing rate that we have. On the electric side, it's a general service large demand rate. That rate was developed and approved back in 2005. It was implemented, it was inserted accordingly in the ordinance. It's been implemented. However, there were several sections in the ordinance where we inadvertently omitted the GSLD rates. So aside from the actual rate section in the ordinance that talks about the terms, the customers that qualify for the rates, there are other sections in the ordinance that tie back to or reference the GSLD, certain provisions, clauses, adjustments, penalties. And so we want to make sure that we're consistent. So the general service large demand rate is a published rate, and we just want to make sure that we flow through the entire ordinance and all of those provisions. The customers on the GSLD rate have the opportunity to apply for these provisions. And right now, it's not in the ordinance. So we are asking to add the GSLD rate to all the different provisions that this, the rate ordinance has.
So it's not in the ordinance, but it's currently being charged.
No, the rate itself is in the ordinance, but there are other, like the customer-owned facilities discount is a discount offered to customers who choose to own their own facilities versus paying PUB to maintain them. Well, right now, the customer-owned facilities discount is only offered to general service demand and large industrial service rates, which are published rates. What we want to do is add the language to support the GSLD rate, so the customers on the GSLD rate can also take advantage of those discounts.
Okay. Does this show an increase in rate compared to what we're currently? Is there any increase in this whatsoever? I'm trying to
Customers will not
get a better
feel any
understanding.
type of, no, it's just actually language. They
Okay.
wouldn't feel any type of impact. Are there any other questions?
If we don't have any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Good. We gotta close
Public hearing.
first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Council, in 2005, I voted against that increase, but what she's saying is that this is just language that needs to be inserted in there, right? So
Yeah.
basically, I mean, I would hate to vote for something that I voted against back in 2005 because I was dead serious on that when we didn't need that rate increase.
This was actually a new rate for a larger group of customers, and it actually, that group of customers actually benefits from this rate. No, it's
No,
for
it's
large commercial customers.
So we want to close public hearing first?
Motion to close. Have somebody?
I'm sorry. You have, does this have to do with this issue? No, this has nothing to do with residential. This has got a commercial, industrial. Okay. Well, but thank you. It's good to see you. Good to see you too. Motion to close public hearing? I hear a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay. Okay, public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Would you approve?
Thank you.
A motion to approve the rate and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5, public comment. Consideration and action to acknowledge the Brownsville Convention and Visitors Bureau quarterly report.
Feel like I'm back at school. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners, general public. First of all, I'd like to congratulate, even though he's left, and his family, Mr. Marco Antonio Cavazos. The fact that Ricardo Longoria, what an honor you placed on this young man, and he's very deserving. I'm excited because Brownsville is in very good hands. So my congratulations to Marco Antonio Cavazos. In front of you, you have a quarterly report. I'm not going to go through everything or else we stay here for 4 hours. But I'll give you some highlights, some bad and some good, and I'll be more than happy to answer some questions. First page, in January through March, April through June, we place ads in the Texas Monthly, TexasTraveler.com. We have billboards for in the San Antonio market, Houston market, and the billboards are electronic, so they're always up there and they're beautiful. We also have TourTexas.com email blasts and banner advertisements, and USSA Sports Magazine. We have an insert.
And then, in the direct response that we have from these publications, this past month, we had 5,091 direct mail-outs. That means to a person's house. For the year, we have 16,831 direct mail-outs that we have sent to a person's home. The walk-in traffic to the visitor center this past month has been 1,187. For a year total of 6,287, we are way, way down as far as walk-ins are concerned. One of the things we figured out that a lot of the Mexican visitors are not coming across, and they would be the ones that would normally come by, ask for directions, and the other drop-off are winter Texans. So those are the areas that we're lacking. One of the items that we started promoting a lot is our webpage. We've added a bird hotspots, a list of historical and family attractions. We've updated the hotels and motels information. We've included banners for the farmers market, the holiday village, Aeromexico, and we've also added, at the very end, we've added something that's very important. Commissioner Zamora brought something up a couple of years ago, and this is towards the end of your package, but we now have a survey online, and people are actually responding, so we're gonna start getting a feel for what they're looking for. For example, have you visited Brownsville? 43.4% of the people said yes. 56.6% said no. Next question, are you thinking about visiting Brownsville? 59.5% said yes, and 29.4% said maybe. So we're going after those 29.4%. Says, what type of information do you need? 40% said they needed information on activities. 40% said on major attractions. 40% said airline serving Brownsville. Says, which of these essential elements will influence your visit to Brownsville? Weather was 75%. Affordability, 75%, and hotel options, 50%. Well, one of our key words on our slogan is friendly, historical, and affordable. And if you notice, 75% of the people answering said that that's one of their criteria. How did you hear about Brownsville? From a friend or a relative, 59.4%. That's why I always say to you all, and I say to the general public, you and me, we're all salespeople for Brownsville. Whatever we say about Brownsville, we either sold it or we have someone not wanting to come here. Right there it tells us a friend or a relative is how they decide where to go. The next one was internet, 15.9. I'm glad to say that I'm about to hire a communication director at the Bureau, and their main emphasis will be the internet, Facebook, Twitter, etc. We're not up to date. Commissioner Zamora was bringing that up the last couple of times, and you know what? You were right on, Commissioner. So we're going to bring someone on to work with the internet. What was the purpose of your last visit? Leisure, 46.2%. Man, we have everything these people want as far as leisure is concerned, so we're right on track. 30.8 said visit relatives or friends. Once again, when someone comes into Brownsville, although they're family members, how we treat them while they're here, what we have to offer while they're here, will determine whether they're going to sell Brownsville for us to someone else in the future. What method of transportation did you use to arrive to Brownsville? 46.2 said they used an airplane. 46.2 said automobile. So the fact that we're adding Aeromexico is fantastic. That should increase the number of people we have visiting. What type of accommodation did you use? 55.6 said home of a friend or a relative. Once again, it goes back to friends and relatives. Once again, that involves each and every one of us selling Brownsville. 22.2 had a hotel or motel rental. How long was your stay? Less than 1 week, 55.6. That's the market we're looking for. 2 to 3 days, hopefully 4 days. But 2 to 3 days is really what we're looking for. What are your favorite attractions in Brownsville? Gladys Porter Zoo, 61.5. So what Dr. Birchfield and his staff have been saying, they're right on, 61.5. South Pider Alley, 46.2. People ask me, why do you always put a starfish? Why do you always mention the island? We're a region. We need to promote the island because people are going to go to the island, and if they don't stay here, they're going to come and shop and eat here, thus helping us in sales taxes. 23.1 for museums, sporting events. 46.2, border culture. They just want to come and visit the way we are, the way we live. What are your favorite attractions? Are you ready? 30.8, shopping. That's why we work in cooperation with Sunrise Mall, and you'll see an ad in your booklet where we did a co-op for the Sunrise Mall coupon book. Overall rating for your first visit to Brownsville, 61.5 said excellent. Now you might say, oh, it was only 1 or 2 persons or 3. It doesn't matter. The ones that are answering the polls are saying we like it. So we're on the right track, ladies and gentlemen. Based on your last visit, how likely is it that you will visit Brownsville again? 76.9 said likely. So we're on the right track, ladies and gentlemen. We've got something good going. We need to continue it. What are the emphasis of the Brownsville Convention and Visitors Bureau? We're emphasizing athletic events. Why? When I first went to work for the Bureau, the hotels, motels said that they needed people during the weekends, Thursday through Sunday. The sports park was just about being completed, so it's almost perfect timing. What have we done at the sports park? We have helped bring in USSSA Youth State Baseball Qualifier. We brought in for the first time from San Antonio, Texas, the UIL 5A State Boys and Girls Regional Soccer Tournament. In April, we also had another USSSA State Qualifier, a Guinness World Record Zumba dance competition or class, which promoted Brownsville all over the world. A World Fishing Guinness World Record, also putting Brownsville on the map on a different frame of mind. And why am I emphasizing this? Because here you have 2 commissioners that are up there, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. Walking the walk. You all are setting the example for the rest of the citizen. And you know what? We're going to follow right along. We need to keep doing these type of events. Also in April, we had Nations Youth Baseball Tournament. In May, we had a USSSA State Baseball Tournament. You notice, state. That means we're bringing in people from out of town. I'm happy to say that in June, we also had a youth baseball tournament and a national 2 youth baseball tournaments. What does this do? This brings in people to stay in our hotels for 2 to 3 days. I am proudly wearing a shirt right now. And Mayor, I think you got a letter. It's in a manila brown envelope. From the Pan American Golf Association for Brownsville, hosting the 54th National Pan American Golf Association Conference in Brownsville. We're expecting anywhere between 1,300 to 1,500 people in Brownsville. And I am wearing one of their shirts, and I'm proud to be wearing it because the CVB was there with them. We were there to help them talk and help them win the vote, and we did it. This Thursday at the sports park, we will have the first World Series, key word, World Series for 9 and under at the sports park. Teams from New York City a team from Georgia, a team from Puerto Rico will be here this weekend. And if you read the article in the Brownsville Herald this past weekend, it's right here. It says that my goal as a CVB director for the city of Brownsville is that we have the opportunity to make history. We want 50 teams from all over the world within 3 years. So that way, everyone will know where Brownsville is. This is the first. They also have 10 through 12-year-olds, 14 through 16-year-olds. Do you understand the golden opportunity we have? And as I told the people involved in this tournament, we have an opportunity to showcase Brownsville, and that way they can go back and sell Brownsville for us to the other entities. Aeromexico was here this past couple of weeks. I dealt with some of the regional sales director and what have you. I drove them around. We talked about opportunities. And one of the opportunities we talked about is bringing in sports team from Mexico where the athletes have a little bit better discounted rate. So that way they have an opportunity to go to Brownsville. So now we can talk again, not only a regular citizen coming from Mexico, but athletes. And you know the athletes, the soccer teams, and the baseball team in Mexico, they have their fans. They are fanaticos. They will travel. So once again, we're looking at another golden opportunity. I'm excited about where we're at. I'm excited about people like these that will speak about the good things of Brownsville. I'm excited about what you all are doing up there and supporting the efforts of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. But there is still a lot of work to do. Not everything is hunky-dory. We are not meeting the figures we met in 2006, 2007, when everything was real good. We had great sales tax receipts and what have you. We're not close to that. But do we cry about it? No. We have opportunities to bring people to Brownsville. And now I will entertain any question because I could go on and on because I'm excited. I'm excited. So would anybody like to ask anything?
I always do when it
Go
comes
ahead.
to marketing and tourism. I have a few comments. I know that these are tough economic times, and one of the first things to go with governmental entities is marketing budgets. So I want to know if you're taking advantage of co-op opportunities when it comes to advertising in some of these larger markets, co-ops with the State Tourism Office, I know those are available, and even co-ops with South Padre Island.
We have, not, with the state, as a matter of fact, it's funny that you asked that, but I do have data on how to get on a co-op with them. We have not taken advantage.
Let's do that.
We have not. And as far as working with the CVB, yes, this sporting opportunity, I met with Dan Quant and Mr. Carlos Gutierrez from Aeromexico last week, and we talked about bringing fishing tournaments. They have a fishing tournament on the island scheduled for the next few months, and we're going to do a co-op where we can help Brownsville and South Padre Island work together. So I'm working in cooperation with Dan Quant, and you know you can always verify that. So, but something new is the state funding and co-op is something that I'm learning about and taking advantage. And next time I report to you, the last quarter, I should have something in hand in front of you that I am trying to get. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how's it going with utilization of the InfoTrack program to get out leads to all the hoteliers so that we can provide competitive rates to our guests?
The InfoTrack, when we first started, we didn't use it accordingly. We did train, but I did not learn it as well as I should have, so I'm a little bit behind that. So
Okay.
we asked for more training, and John Paradiso people are going to be coming down. Sorry, I didn't pick up on it well.
Okay, and then just one more comment. I'm working with the United Brownsville Group
Yes.
to put together a cross-marketing program or committee because there seems to be a disconnect when it comes to promoting each other's activities, events. For example, we don't exactly know what's going on at the port. We may not know what's going on at BASD and their events, and by the time we do know, it's the day of the event and we can't cross-market. So how can we get together so that we can cross-market, do integrated marketing, so that there's one concerted effort to promote Brownsville and to take best advantage of each other's marketing efforts?
Well, that's a very good point. We feel proud at the Convention Visitors Bureau that we do have a concerted effort where we put out the word that anybody that would like to advertise an event, as long as it's available to the general public, it's not a private event. What we do ask them to give us a write-up. We'll post it on our webpage. We'll post it on our calendar events. And we have a lot of good people that have done that. Children's Museum, the Farmers Market is up there, the Fine Arts Museum, et cetera, et cetera. And if necessary, I'll go make a presentation to BISD just to remind them that we're there available for them. But I'm proud of our webpage. We do have a lot of articles there and events posted. But it's never enough.
Would you acknowledge?
Being, before you leave, just a couple observations. I think the city manager and I were in an airport over the weekend, and there was a visitors and convention kiosk in an airport. You might want to consider that, get together with Larry that's sitting back there and try to figure out. It was a very small one, but it's a promotional deal. Also, last time at Public Forum, there were some people that were commenting with regards to the plastic bag ban, and how maybe some visitors to our area do not know that exists. You might suggest trying to figure out, the college has got, bags that they're giving away. There's different organizations, there's different businesses that I know of have shopping bags that, that are reusable, that you might inquire about, so that, and people who might see someone who's upset because they don't have any bags, we might, just what you say, is be an ambassador of Brownsville and say, you know what, I've got some bags from wherever the source may be, so that we can kind of keep people happy. Might be a suggestion. You got to realize that the city of South Padre is also going to ban plastic bags. So with this flight from Mexico, where the people are coming either here or South Padre Island, you might want to get together with them, and perhaps maybe at your kiosk have South Padre also dedicate some of their resources to getting those bags, and instruct those people that we have that in place and it's going to stay in place. And so, how can we help and make your stay a little bit better, okay?
Sounds like a great idea, Mayor.
Anybody have anything else?
Are we doing anything to advertise in Mexico, any region in Mexico?
We place some small ads in Monterrey Norte and Tampico, and we're going to increase it because of Radio Mexico. And we're going to start advertising more. Yes, ma'am. We had 2 years ago, 2 and 3 years ago, we had $48,000 that we would invest, and then when the situation got a little bad, we held back, and now that there's an opportunity again, we're going to increase it.
And Commissioner, just so you know, part of the arrangements we had with Aeromexico, they were to take care of all the promotional stuff in Monterrey, and they actually did a very good job. And obviously it shows, because I think now, Larry, we're filled up through the first part of September, and again, they were wonderful when we went over there to Monterrey. It's an exciting time in that regard, and I think it is a golden opportunity for the convention center to take advantage and make sure that they feel welcome when they're coming into that airport.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. This is an action item.
Would you acknowledge?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Any opposed? Thank you, Bean.
Item number 7, consideration and action on a Fly Brownsville travel policy for Brownsville.
Mayor Martinez, City Commissioners, as you recall, we discussed this during the workshop session we had. But if I could, I'd just like to review with you very briefly. This is the City of Brownsville air travel policy. The key points to it: first of all approved air travel must originate from the Brownsville-South Powder End International Airport that pertains to city employees. All United Brownsville members are encouraged to also use the Brownsville-South Powder End International Airport for their travel needs. American Airlines, Aeromexico Airlines, Continental Airlines, and United Airlines fly to more than 1,000 destinations worldwide. There is no reason to use another airport. When traveling on American Airlines, City of Brownsville employees are hereby required to enter the city's business extra number 799925 when making their reservations. Employees of the City of Brownsville and members of United Brownsville are encouraged to enter their personal American Airlines Advantage number when traveling. The number is free and available at www.aa.com or via the airport's website at www.flybrownsville.com. Employees can earn free travel and other benefits. Employees who are members of Aeromexico's Premier Club, Continental One Pass, and United Mileage Plus are encouraged to enter their personal numbers when traveling on company business. Employees should pay close attention when making reservations to choose the most efficient flight that serves the city's purpose for travel. By selecting a different flight on a different day or at a different time, this action can result in great cost savings and more efficient use of the employee's time. Finally, an employee can achieve the greatest savings by using the individual airline's website when purchasing tickets. Each airline guarantees the lowest fare anywhere. All airlines' websites are available at www.flybrownsville.com. Adopted at City Commission meeting on July 9th, 2011. Also, to follow up on what was discussed during the workshop session, we'll be happy to put together a proposed action whereby we can establish an air travel organization, you will, whether it be at the airport department or appropriate place, so that city employees and perhaps members of United Brownsville will have the opportunity to have people who are experts be able to book flights at the earliest possible time and at the cheapest possible cost savings.
I would appreciate that. I think that would be very good for the city. This is also an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Item 8, consideration and action to adopt resolution number 2011-046 to authorize the filing of a grant application and execution of grant agreements with the Federal Transit Administration for Brownsville Urban System Operations and Maintenance Facility Rehabilitation Project.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Recognizing that there are assets that have exceeded their useful life at the existing bus operations and maintenance facility, federal financial assistance under the FTA State of Good Repair Bus and Bus Facility Initiatives, we will be requesting to replace or improve conditions of these assets. Proposed activities include replacing the roofing, siding, and structural components of 2 buildings, replacing and enclosing the bus washer, repairing and rehabbing the parking and circulation area pavement, and rehabbing the stormwater conveyance and retention system. The estimated total cost for this project is $1.6 million. The department is requesting federal assistance in the amount of $1.2. If awarded, the city will be required to provide a local share of at least 20% or $321,000. This is a competitive application that we apply, that we're applying for.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
Item number 9, consideration and action to adopt budget amendment resolution number 2011-047 to amend the general fund for various expenditures and to provide additional cash transfer to the airport fund.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is a budget amendment that will allocate some funds to various line items, and this is some expenditures that have already been approved by the City Commission. All we're doing is housekeeping so that we can set up a budget for that particular line item. And United Brownsville Consultant, that was for the pen box contract that we are sharing with other entities. We also have the TERS contribution. This is about a 6 years equivalent, it's like 113,000 is about a 6 years, and that's for the TERS located on the West Brownsville side along Laredo Road. And the other one is the settlement that we settled recently. And then we're also asking for a transfer from the general fund of 800,000. And this is just a budget amendment that we recommend that it be adopted.
Any questions of Pete? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay. We
Commissioner
have all
Somoto, was
ayes
that
except
nay?
for Commissioner Somoto, who votes nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Item number 10, consideration and action to adopt resolution number 2011-048 to express official intent to reimburse costs incurred to acquire kennels and vehicles for the animal shelter, ambulances, golf course equipment, and vehicles and equipment for various other city departments.
Our Mayor, honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is what we call a reimbursement resolution. We were trying to find ways of how to improve our fund balance in the general fund. When we were in Dallas, we discovered that there's a possibility that we may have another refunding issue sometime in October, whereby we would reconstruct some of our debt, and we would be able to obviously reduce our annual payments, and in so doing, we could include some expenditures that have already been approved by the City Commission, but money has not been spent yet, and this reimbursement resolution will allow us to reimburse the general fund once the certificates of obligation are issued. So this is something that would assist the general fund balance during the fiscal year 2011. And again, we're recommending that you approve this reimbursement resolution.
Does everybody understand the resolution? Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Pete.
you.
Thank you.
Item 11, consideration and action to authorize city manager to accept grant number SAT 01-100 41-12 from the Texas Auto Burglary and Theft Prevention Authority for the South Texas Auto Theft Enforcement Task Force project for fiscal year 2011-2012 in the amount of $1,043,336 for Brownsville Police Department's share of $757,757.
Mayor, members of City Commission, good evening. The City of Brownsville, acting as the grantee for 6 different entities that include the City of Brownsville, City of McAllen, City of FAR, the Cameron County Tax Assessor's Office, the City of Edinburgh, and the Cameron County District Attorney's Office, has been awarded this grant in the amount of $1,043,336 by the Texas Automobile Burglary and Theft Prevention Authority. The Brownsville's share of the grant is $408,757. This would be our 19th year of funding that we would be receiving from ABTPA.
Yeah, good work. Do I hear a motion for approval? Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 12, consideration and action to award a work task order number 1 to CH2M Hill for aviation engineering services.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, staff recommendation is to award a work order task order number 1 to CH2M Hill of Inglewood, Colorado, for aviation engineering services in the amount of $1,015,524. Funding for these services are contingent upon approval from the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and the administration of the Brownsville Airport Department concurs with this recommendation. There was a typo in there.
Any discussion, Commissioner?
I have a question.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Melissa.
It says that Larry Brown submitted a request to this particular company. I don't see anything about an RFP or RFQ.
Okay, there's a recap as part of the analysis. That is, if you can scroll down. No, I'm sorry, scroll down on the analysis. There you go. On May the 4th, 2010, the Brownsville City Commission awarded a term contract for airport architectural and engineering consulting services to CH2M Hill of Eaglewood, Colorado. And this is basically the first work order that CH2M Hill is going to do for the airport. But yes, this, to answer your question, there was an agenda that was presented and submitted on May the 4th of last year to award a contract to this company.
That was before.
Okay, and at that point, was there other firms that were looked at, or is that what it would be, Mr. Larry?
We went through the process of the SOQs. We qualified companies, and they were the highest ranked firm. So therefore, we negotiated with them.
There were 13 companies that submitted proposals. We
Was there a
followed the
bidding
FAA's
process that
process
went
to
on?
rank those
I'm sorry?
Did it go through the bidding process?
Yes, ma'am.
proposal process, right? Competitive process.
I'm sorry?
We went through the SOQ process, statements of qualifications.
Can you explain that?
Basically, what we're doing is following the FAA's requirements because this is going to be 100% funded by the FAA. And that involves us sending out requests for proposals. We receive those proposals from the various different engineering firms that may be qualified and competent and able to do the type of work we're talking about at an airport. A committee is set up that reviews those various different proposals and basically goes through a ranking process and narrows the proposals down to, say, the top 3. Once they're narrowed down to the top 3 proposals, we then invite those top 3 firms to submit to us their cost statements. Once the cost statements are submitted, we can then review such things as, a comparison between the 3 firms. The 3 top firms were CH2M Hill, URS, and also the previous firm, which was HNTB. All 3 of those firms are competent and capable to do the type of work we're talking about. But based upon CH2M Hill's presentation, the type of experience and competency they've got to do this type of work, they ranked a little bit higher than the others. That ranking was what ended up in the recommendation coming before the City Commission that the City Commission acted on. What we have to do, though, before they can actually do any work, before they enter into a contract, a work task order, we have to be in a position with the FAA to potentially apply for and receive the grant funding. The reason why it's coming now has to do with the fact that Congress has not yet approved a final FAA administration bill. And so it's been approved in sort of pieces. So we're only now at a position where we can apply for the funding to actually do these projects in terms of the engineering. And the way it works, first we do the engineering work associated with the project. Then once we're in a position with the engineering plans, we don't just take them and set them on the shelf. But what we do then, and this is the way the FAA works, we will advertise based upon the potential revenue that we could get from the FAA. We advertise, we submit the actual contract, potential contract value to the FAA with a grant application. The FAA then approves the grant application. We finally award the contract, we do the project. The reason this is important is because periodically the FAA, if you're in good standing with the FAA and you're getting your projects done, they will have not only entitlement money, but discretionary money as well. By doing this correctly and following the FAA standards, you increase your odds of getting discretionary money. An example of that is when the City of Brownsville received $14 million in grant funds and rebuilt Taxiway G. That's what we're gearing up to do. Okay?
Any more questions, girls? Come on.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Robert, go ahead, next one.
Item 13, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of an air conditioning compressor replacement for the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport.
Okay, this recommendation is basically due to the fact that the airport, they've been having a lot of issues with the AC. Therefore, since it is an emergency, we requested a quote from the buy board. The buy board, it's an entity that we can use as it is under the cooperative network for purchasing, and it's being used by different entities, school districts, and so forth. So going back to this, the recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of an air conditioning compressor for the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport to McQuay Air Conditioning of San Antonio, Texas. It is in the amount of $46,990. This procurement reflects by board contracting pricing, and the funding for this procurement, it's available from account 53-8634-9290-942, and the administration of the airport department concurs with this recommendation.
Any questions, commissioners? I hear a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, Rick, it's your turn. Motion for adjournment. Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion. Meeting adjourned.